Welcome to Sasquatch Do Art, and today we're going to be playing a game. We're going to be playing Paint That Space Marine. The rules of the game are simple. I have a random generator up of a bunch of different Space Marine chapters. Our goal, paint whichever one we get. Now I'm going to do this 3 times on 3 different Space Marines. Oh boy. I have no idea what Space Marines are going to come up. I just put a list of a bunch of them on here. I don't know all of these. There's some that definitely are familiar and some that are not. But I'm going to have a heck of a time painting them. Let's get to the number generator. We have the Space Marines. Let's see what we got. The Emperor's Spears. That is one I have not heard of. All right, let's get some reference going. And oops. Yep, that happened. But it's not really that important. We can get through that. Just a quick cleanup. And start again. All right, so we've started with our Space Marine Emperor's Spear. And starting with the helmet, getting some bright, bold stuff on there. It's not quite a white, so we can add some highlights a little bit later. And then we're going to go through and add just a few more colors. I'm really only spending about half an hour to an hour on these guys with the brush. So I decided to do a little bit of work with the airbrush beforehand, but most of these guys is about a half an hour to an hour. So I was really speed painting on them, and you'll see that in the final result. But I was just having a good time. So I did do a little freehand on the trident, and we go from there. We're adding a few little highlights here and there, and just having fun with the model, not worrying. And that's the Emperor's Spear. All right. Let's find out who our second Space Marine chapter will be. Black Templars. Cool enough, cool enough. Let's get to it. Second Space Marine is going to be a Black Templar. Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's do it. All right, so with Black Templars, it's pretty simple. Just paint it black and add a little bit of highlights. Here I'm adding like an ivory to the shoulder pads. Just a couple coats of that. Makes a almost white that we can add a little bit of highlights to at the very end. And I'm adding that to the knee pad too, which basically just adds like a creamy white that looks real good. And then you get that classic red bolter. And you may notice I did not film any of the eye painting in this video. I am not that good yet. I will not be that good for quite a while, so trust me, the eyes are eyes. Now here, I add some layers of highlights through the process, and like I said, only about a half an hour for each of these guys, so I was kind of rushing it. But I think they turned out pretty well for about a half an hour each. Now here I am adding a little bit of a recess shade with just a darker tan, and I wouldn't even call it a recess shade. Just a little bit of shading with a darker tan on the knee pad and the shoulder pads, and then in the same vein as the Emperor's Spear, I am doing a little bit of freehand on the shoulder pad, and you can't see that because the model is out of focus and the light is too bright. So you'll see it at the very end, but it was a fun process to try and freehand the heraldic cross. And you can kind of see it. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I'm still learning the process of filming my painting. So here I add a little bit more freehand because I was having a bit of fun with it. And so I just did a kind of crossed the kneecap, which is pretty simple. All right, Space Marine number 3. Let's go. Come on, no whammies, no whammies, no whammies. Salamanders. I can do that. All right, so with the salamander, I had a little bit of a harder time with the airbrush. I think I thinned my paints a little wrong. I over thinned them, and it was just watering right down the model. So it took a little bit of figuring out. But with the salamander, I tried to go a little bit heavier with airbrush highlights, and so I go in with a brighter green, and that kind of boosts the contrast and does a lot of the heavy lifting on this guy. So you will notice that I do a little bit more with the airbrush on this guy as I'm trying to get used to using an airbrush. So when we do go into the paints, a lot of the highlighting is already done. And then I go in with, I think it's moot green, and just go in and do a little bit of edge highlighting and just bring the pop a little bit further than what the airbrush did, but most of the heavy lifting was done with the airbrush, which was a lot of fun to try and learn because I am still very new with the airbrush. But salamanders have always been a really fun chapter for me. I love the salamanders. I love that they're so-called good guys. They're the nice guys that actually care, which I always thought was really cool. And I'm not gonna lie, I do actually think they look pretty sick in the green. And the flame motifs and the dragons and everything, I think, is a really cool aesthetic. And I could see myself painting more salamanders in the future, but that's a bridge to cross if I paint Space Marines anytime soon. Figuring out which chapter I want to paint. Oh, that's what was fun about this project, was just letting the gods decide. And I had no choice on what chapter I was painting for these 3 guys, which was a lot of fun. Actually, just giving up the control of what color scheme and just painting for about a half an hour on each of these guys was really cathartic. I enjoyed myself way more than I thought I would. And in the end, I think I got some decent results for being so rushed in these. So that was fun. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching and painting along with me as I painted these 3 different Space Marine chapters that I had never painted before. I think the Emperor's Spear was probably my favorite. Black Templars was also a lot of fun as well. I would love to paint each one of these a different time. Like, I'd go back and paint these anytime. They were a lot of fun to do. And thank you guys so much for watching along. as I painted these Space Marines on this channel. If you liked the video, please like it, give it a subscribe, and thank you so much for watching. If you're still here to the end, here's all 3 of them. And thank you again so much for watching. And like I say, keep painting.